Now straight to the details. Residents from various parts of Kigali city have noted that 2025 has been a year of prosperity for them, thanks to the security the country has enjoyed. And they have emphasized that they will continue to safeguard and build upon what they have achieved in the coming year. The spokesperson of the Rwanda National Police, that is ACP Boniface Rutikanga, has pointed out that Rwandans should take pride in what they have achieved in 2025, while bearing in mind that security has remained the foundation of everything. Infrastructure, including roads, electricity, technology, education, tourism, and other sectors have been among the areas residents have appreciated the most for having transformed livelihoods and national development in general in this year of 2025, all of which they have acknowledged has been achieved thanks to the important pillar of security. Now, economic analysts have noted that extending working hours in sectors that provide services to large numbers of people would generate returns that could help the country accelerate its economic development even faster. During this festive season, the Rwanda Development Board has extended operation hours for businesses in the hospitality sector, including hotels, restaurants, bars, and others. Service providers in those sectors say that the extension of working hours has yielded positive results. Economic experts explain that extending working hours, especially in service-oriented sectors that serve many people, will, if well implemented, that is, could become one of the avenues to help the country to achieve its desired economic growth faster. The services sector accounted for as much as 57% of the country's gross domestic product during the third quarter of this year of 2025, according to figures released by the National Institute of Statistics of Rwanda. Now, public transport users here in Kigali city have praised the year of 2025, saying it has made their travel easier as they no longer wait long hours at bus stops and routes that were previously not served by public transport that have now been covered. It has been nearly a month since public passenger transport operations in the city of Kigali were entrusted to Eco-Fleet Solutions. Oswald Abanenawe, in charge of operations for this mobility improvement program at Eco-Fleet Solutions, has given assurances that the company will continue to provide quality services to the general public. As part of the program, during peak hours, buses use dedicated lanes in order to speed up passenger movement. In the near future, the country is to introduce as many as 396 electric buses aimed at further improving public transport services and protecting the environment as well as public health by reducing air pollution. Now, the Ministry of Gender and Family Promotion is calling on parents to stay close to their children and serve as role models while strengthening cooperation with institutions responsible for child protection in order to shield them from the consequences of violence committed against them. This is being raised at a time when the number of girls becoming pregnant has continued to rise, with cases where the perpetrators are sometimes unknown, leading to additional problems within the families of the girls affected. The issue of teenage pregnancies has frequently been reported in various parts of the country and is linked to the crime of child defilement, which has now been classified among crimes without a statute of limitations due to the seriousness of the problem. Girls who have faced these challenges say they have suffered numerous consequences, including raising children who grew up never knowing their fathers or their paternal side of the family. Local leaders and some non-governmental organizations have begun supporting efforts to address the impact of this issue on the lives and the rights of victims who become pregnant, providing them with legal assistance and other forms of support to prevent them from being overwhelmed by the consequences of what they experienced. Now, most of the girls say that a lack of communication with their parents and dropping out of school early are among the leading factors that have contributed to early pregnancies. The Minister of Gender and Family Promotion, that is Console Wimana, says that limited access to information on reproductive health along with weaknesses among some educators and parents, are among the main factors driving the increase of teenage pregnancies in the country. The Ministry of Gender and Family Promotion says the government will continue to punish and strive to mitigate the crime of child defilement, while urging educators and parents to strengthen preventive measures by following up with all children to protect them from those who may seek to deceive or abuse them in various ways. The 7th Demographic and Health Survey has shown that the rate of teenage pregnancies among girls aged between 15 and 19 years has continued to rise, increasing from 5% 5 years ago to the present figure of 8%. Now, the residents of Mushongo Island in Nyamasheke district and Hombo Island, that is in Rusizi district, both are located on Lake Kivu in the Western province, say they appreciate the country's good leadership for valuing them like all other Rwandans, enabling them to access infrastructure such as clean water, electricity, schools, and health centers, things they once considered to be just dreams. Today, on both islands, a tangible transformation can be seen. Residents now have lighting, fetch clean water nearby, and their children attend schools close to home. Leaders in the Western province have confirmed that more initiatives are still planned for the residents, including areas designated for relocation, where tourism-related projects will be developed. The governor of the province has called on residents to make good use, that is, of the many developmental opportunities they now have. Lake Kivu is one of Rwanda's outstanding natural attractions, and the islands are part of that beauty. Hombo is the more densely populated of the two, with 18,637 residents living on just over 29 square kilometers, while Mushongo is home to 145 households with a population of just 741 residents. Now, key events marked the year of 2025 in regional and international affairs, diplomacy, security, and beginning with the regional security environment in which Rwanda is located, particularly in the eastern part of the Democratic Republic of Congo. Now, at the beginning of 2025, the Congolese armed group advocating for the rights of Kinyarwanda-speaking Congolese, that is the AFC M23, captured the cities of Goma and Bukavu, developments that alarmed countries and international organizations. The capture of Goma, in particular, had serious consequences for Rwanda's security, as during the takeover there were attacks launched by FARDC soldiers against Rwanda, resulting in 5 deaths and 35 people injured. However, during the capture of that city, many fighters from the FDLR, Wazalendo, and FARDC fled into Rwanda, and Rwanda also provided safe passage to mercenaries who had been working with the Congolese government in carrying out some of the attacks against Rwanda. Among others who were granted passage by Rwanda despite being aligned with the Democratic Republic of Congo and having plans to attack Rwanda were troops deployed by SADC. President Paul Kagame, while marking the 31st anniversary of Rwanda's liberation, made it clear that the country would not accept being violated by anyone.
The issue was not about fighting so-called FCM23, it was aimed at Rwanda. Boy, you ask them what happened. What happened was only a fraction of actually what we could do. The same people you've been seeing after making sure that they can not to do any harm to us, and they gave up, we gave them passage through here to go back home. We gave them passage. We gave them security. We made sure they went back home. But they could have perished if they really put up a fight. There's no question about it. I'm saying it now, and for tomorrow, if anybody attempts, you will see it.
Among the major developments of the year, on the 17th of March, Rwanda severed diplomatic relations with Belgium. One day before Rwanda took the decision, President Kagame met with the residents of Kigali City and highlighted Belgium's role in Rwanda's painful history, including the genocide against the Tutsi. President Kagame strongly criticized Belgium for being behind efforts to push for sanctions against Rwanda under the pretext of insecurity in the DRC, despite Belgium's own involvement in that situation. The head of state also addressed the issue of Belgium's continued interference in Rwanda's politics for more than 100 years while launching the 31st commemoration week of the genocide against the Tutsi. On regional security matters, in April, fundamental principles were signed to provide a lasting solution to insecurity in the Great Lakes region, particularly in the eastern DRC. 2 months later, the foreign affairs ministers of Rwanda and the DRC met again in Washington and signed peace and development agreements in the presence of the United States Secretary of State Marco Rubio. Rwanda's Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Ambassador Olivier Nduhungirehe, stressed that the signed agreements include provisions that largely hinge on the complete dismantling of the FDLR, a group that poses a serious threat to the security of Rwanda and the entire region. Their agreements were later reinforced by others signed by the heads of state of both countries on the 4th of December. In the presence of President Donald Trump, the President of the Republic of Rwanda, His Excellency Paul Kagame, and his counterpart from the DRC signed peace and economic cooperation agreements which were intended to create development opportunities for both countries with the involvement of partners. President Kagame commended President Trump's mediation, noting that it was impartial and helped strengthen confidence in the implementation of the agreements. However, within a week, the Congolese government again appeared to shift its internal problems onto Rwanda, following the capture of the city of Uvira by the AFC M23 group. During the swearing-in ceremony of various leaders, President Kagame stated that it is completely unacceptable for countries to continue blaming Rwanda for Congo's problems while ignoring their root causes. On the international front, Rwanda continued to expand its cooperation with other countries around the world, particularly on the African continent. This was reflected in various high-level visits to Rwanda and the signing of agreements in different sectors. Among those who visited Rwanda were the President of Togo, the President of Mozambique, the President of Senegal, the Emir of Qatar, and the President of the Central African Republic. As a country that has become a strong reputation for hosting international conferences, events, and entertainment activities, Rwanda reaffirmed this position this year by hosting the UCI Road World Championships. During the Congress of the International Cycling Union, its president highly praised the role played by the President of the Republic of Rwanda in ensuring that the 2025 UCI Road World Championships and its 194th Congress were held in Africa.
First time in 125 years that the UCI Road World Championship take place in Africa. And I'm delighted it is here in Rwanda. What an incredible occasion. The crowds, the passion, the smiles, the enthusiasm. This week in Kigali is unique for all of us. The images and memories will stay with us forever. The 132 national federations here in front of us, in the room, asked me, Your Excellency, to thank you and to thank Rwanda for making the history. And it is a wonderful chapter. We will never forget our time in your beautiful country.
At the Congress, President Kagame stated that sport is founded on the principle of fairness and that therefore no one should seek to determine the capacity of countries to host major events such as the UCI Road World Championships.
The main rule of any sport is fairness. We are here today because David Lapatien upheld the principle of fairness. He wins gold in that category. I thank you. I want to thank you on behalf of Rwanda for your integrity and the courage to stand up for what is right and fair. Governing bodies of sports have a responsibility to open doors and expand access, and that is what we see UCI doing. We congratulate you all for that.
Now, as noted earlier, security has remained a central pillar in Rwanda, and in this regard, the President of the Republic, His Excellency Paul Kagame, expressed deep appreciation for the country's security organs for their role in safeguarding the safety of Rwandans. As 2025 comes to an end, Rwanda has stood in a strong position in international diplomacy, largely due to the expansion of its relations with various countries. This includes the opening of new embassies, reinforcing Rwanda's vision of strengthening cooperation and broadening its diplomatic ties with other nations. I hope you're spending this holiday season with your loved ones, and I do hope to see you again soon. Until then, goodbye.